Got it, Greg. All right, everybody. It's Thursday night. Dexter Henry here, NBA picks and props, rocking here again. It's been an interesting week with the NBA playoffs. As usual, a lot going on. The motto has been true for me around a certain team. You know that team we're talking about is the Los Angeles Clippers. They've been clipping. We'll get into that later. But first, let me bring in my guys. First up, my Brooklyn brother, Jamal Murphy. Murph, what up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man? You know, I'm rushing back through Brooklyn traffic.
Oh, I got caught in that too before I came on here. Yeah.
No, you know, I'm swerving in and out of traffic. It's crazy out here. I thought it's still a pandemic out here, right? Or no? Is it over?
You go certain places, it looks over, and it's looked like that for quite some time. I'll say that much. I'll definitely say that. But you made it. You made it here on time. That is all good. I'm gonna bring in this next guy here who has a book over his face. I don't know what he's doing. That is Brian Fonseca trying to look
reading.
like he's not a
I'm reading. What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm reading.
So we could then ask him, oh, Brian, what do you happen to be reading? Oh, just happen to be my new book.
June 1st. June 1st.
God.
All right. June 1st.
I like it, man. We're supporting it. You're just trying to have new ways to promote
This is the not for resale edition. This is for me, just to make sure everything is all good. But June 1st, it'll be on Amazon. You already know.
I respect the promotion, man. I gotta respect the promotion. I got to. And last but not least, my man Gerard Hector. Gerard, no hot takes here as the usual model for you and I when we do the NBA exchange. Do you have anything to promote tonight?
No, Brian, you don't read. Stop lying out here in these streets. No. I'm kidding. No, real talk, though. Real talk. Shout out to our brother, Brian Fonseca, putting out Hidalgo Heights, his first nonfiction novel. Yo, man, writing a novel ain't easy, people. This brother, man, did it during the pandemic. And, you know, Dex and Jamal, listen, pandemic. Yeah, we in a pandemic, but y'all know it's summertime now out here. People wilding. They forgetting about all that shit. They just out here like, we doing us. Whatever that means.
You can see it's summertime out there.
I just hope people are being responsible and getting their shots.
People are not.
But you know, it's hey man, what you gonna do? New York City is back, as people are saying.
It's summertime. It is Memorial Day weekend, which is kind of weird because we usually be talking about like conference finals at this time of the year, but we're not doing that. We're now talking about still in the middle of these first round matchups, and we'll get started. We got some interesting games tonight. So then we'll talk about some more interesting teams who might be in trouble a little later in the show. First up tonight, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. Might be a surprise to some people. They have a 2-0 lead in their series against Brian's Miami Heat. The over-under for this is 224.5. The Bucks are favored 1.5 points. The Bucks demolished the Heat in the previous game. So, you know who we're going to start with. We're going to start with Brian. Brian, have you been crying any tears over the Heat? Have you made a couple phone calls to Pat Riley to kiss his rings a little bit more? Or are we going to see what I feel like you should be promoting, which is tonight is the stand. Tonight is when we see Heat culture. Forget the -1.5 to the Bucks. Heat culture is going to shine tonight, right?
Well, we're going to talk more about the teams that are down 2-0, but they're the only ones that have a chance, at least. It looks like, you know, to probably like come back in the series. Well, and outside chance of the Clippers, but they're going on a road. The thing with Miami is that I think people, and I see this on Twitter, like as we're watching games, I think a lot of people are just very defeatist when it comes to just watching teams in general. So these are the same people who, and I made this example with you, Dex, earlier, where a lot of people watching games, they were out on the Knicks game early yesterday. They're like, oh, this shit is over, da-da-da-da. And then the second half happens where they outscore the Hawks 57-37. And basically, like, I think a lot of people who just watch these games are the same people who buy 2K, play a game, allow a 14-2 run as soon as it starts, and then just start the game over. They don't have the balls to try to come back. They don't believe that they can sort of mount this comeback and return into the game and things of that nature. So the thing with the Bucks and the Heat doesn't look great. It was only one game. They should have won game one, obviously, but it was only one game last time. And that 3-point shooting barrage was to me an anomaly. It did highlight, though, a lot of things that are wrong with the Heat right now, and we'll see what adjustments they make. And remember, I was sort of wishy-washy in who I thought was going to win this series to begin with. So it's not surprising to me that the Bucks are up 2-0, but I also don't think that this is going to be a clean sweep or anything of that nature. I think the Heat are going to put up a fight, take a game or two, probably two, and then we'll see what happens. I'm actually surprised that the Bucks are only favored by 1.5 tonight, and that the over-under is as high as 224. I'm going to take the under on that because I think the Heat are going to win a narrow, ugly, grinded-out game because I feel like that's how they have to win. And I think they're going to win, so obviously I'm going to take them in the spread. But I thought that the Bucks would probably be getting like 5 or something like that there.
Not the case. This is almost damn near a pick'em game. I think the points had opened up I was telling Brian earlier, opened up at 0.5 point. So this was a toss-up. I guess a lot of respect to Heat culture. Murph, do you have the same respect for Heat culture to get it done and get a win tonight?
Yeah, I'm from the era where a 2-0 lead was not the end of a series, especially when the first 2 games won were on your home court. All you did was take care of what you had to take care of. The Heat have a history. The Heat were in the finals last season, as we all know. They are not, they have talent on the team. They have heart. So I'm actually surprised that Milwaukee's favored to win this game. I think, so people are acting like Milwaukee is supposed to sweep the Heat all of a sudden because you won 2 home games. I think you got to jump on that. If you're a bettor, you got to jump on the Heat here. They're giving the Heat points, so jump on that. To me, they should be the favorite here. It's a do or die situation for a team we know has a lot of heart, still has a lot of talent. Milwaukee coming off a big win, you got to figure that they're feeling themselves a little bit, and that's not really how you want to be going into a tough game. And Miami, they're going to have fans in the stands, a lot of them. Since there's, Death Santis is the governor, so it's all over. But I can't say anything because it's the same thing here with Cuomo and de Blasio, so I'm just playing.
Nah, it's worse out there, yo. With DeSantis and Abbott, they wilding down south.
Death Santis. Excellent.
Miami, he probably had full capacity, while out here we got 15,000 instead of 19,000, something like that. So, but no, I'm staying away from the over-under because I'm not sure how that's going to play out. It's been unpredictable, but I'm going hard on the Heat plus 1.5.
Hard on the Heat plus 1.5. All right, Gerard, you have been a believer. You've told me the Bucks are different this year. Different this year might mean they take care of business here in Game 3, or not.
Well, guys, I got to bring in the analytical information because that's why you guys have me here. It.
yo, Gerard, it's cool, man. You just got to say you're just playing your part, man. You're just playing your part. That's all.
Listen, you gotta stick to the bit and play your role. No, listen, there is no analytical information that tells me that the Heat are a better team than the Bucks, right? Like nothing tells me that. Everything favors the Heat. They won that first game that was grimy and they didn't shoot the ball well, still managed to get that win. Game 2, they shot the doors off from 3, blew the Heat out. But like Murph, I am from an era too where winning the first 2 games, all that means is you take care of your business, right? What's the old adage? A series doesn't begin until the home team loses the game. Well, the home team hasn't lost the game yet. So I'm going to join my brethren and disavow all analytical information and go with the Miami Heat because Jimmy and Spo, they ain't no suckers, all right? They ain't going out getting swept by the Bucks. They're going to put up a fight tonight and win. Now, was that meaning I'll win the series? I have no idea. Probably not. But I do expect the Heat to put up more of a fight and just not get swept out of here like it ain't nothing, right? So Spo will make some adjustments. I think the role players will play a little bit better at home. And, they'll get Giannis in foul trouble. That's always key for them. The other big piece is Brian's man, whom he loves to call Bam Garnett. We got to stop that foolishness, all right? Like, he may be close to Garnett on defense, maybe, and not really, because Garnett's a generational defender. He ain't nowhere near Garnett on offense. Bam has been atrocious. They ain't even guarding that dude from 15 feet out. They're like turning around like, don't worry about him. He ain't gonna do nothing.
Well,
that's a problem.
It would help.
Here we go.
It would help if they would call defensive 3 seconds every now.
Look.
Look.
Forget your defensive 3 seconds. Your man
here's the thing. You You don't have
in the wall. Okay.
Look, you don't have to tell me. I'm the one who wrote 1,350 words about how Bam has actually made these mid-range jumpers that they're challenging him to make, and for whatever reason, his confidence looks shot.
He also want to shook right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know why. I think he's in his own head. But look, let me say this: like, a lot of great players, or pretty much all of them, have gone through this at some point in their career.
No doubt.
LeBron James, we saw it play out later into his career
against down in the finals.
Right, you know what I mean? So I think long term, if he does get over this, and I think he will, this would be good for him. This is actually like his first really bad moment publicly, because everything else has been sort of house money. And I will point out that 27 teams in NBA history have blown 2-0 leads. The most recent example was the Milwaukee Bucks from 2 years ago against the Raptors. Now, again, that's not to say that that's going to happen here, but there are some parallels. Like, the Bucks blew out the Raptors that second game. And I remember a lot of people being like, yo, Kawhi's done. Giannis is finally going to get a ring. And then, that happened. So I don't think the Heat are as good as those Raptors, but
definitely not.
Worth noting.
All right, so Gerard, you are going with the Heat.
Going with the Heat. Yeah, staying away from the over-under as well.
What is interesting is Milwaukee is 86% of the spread bets, 83% of the spread handle, 51% of total bets, and under 68% of the total handle. So a lot of people putting the money on the Bucks. Go ahead, Murph.
Yeah, this is just another indictment on our society.
No, he's right though.
It's almost like what Derrick Rose was saying. It's so soft. Like it's 2 games and it's over. It's like the last thing you saw has to rule. Like people don't think anymore, man.
Yo, you know what I gotta say?
Murph is 1,000% right though. Like if he didn't say it, I was gonna say it.
Murph, I think you're right, but Murph, I also have to say something to you and Gerard. Look, man, we getting older when you start off your lines with "I'm from an era where."
Oh yeah, no doubt. We're getting old as hell,
and I accept it. I'm fine with that. I'm telling you about that era. I'm fine. I'm with y'all on this. I gotta go Heat. I think the Heat are gonna respond. I'm surprised, like Brian said, the line is that low. I'm really shocked at that. I think the Heat win this somewhere 9-10 point victory.
But guys,
I can see them being comfortable like the Knicks. I also would stay away from that over-under. Go ahead, Gerard.
The reason why the Bucks are still favored, again, they're just flat-out better team in every possible area. Drew Holiday, I cannot stress enough how much of a massive upgrade that is over Eric Bledsoe in every single possible way. Like, it's like not even close. It's almost like they play 2 different games. Like, you know what I mean? No. It's and that makes all the difference, because now Giannis is like, all right, I'm going to initiate stuff. Cool, I got this dude to help me. And Bud is, slowly changing and doing and making some adjustments. Now, look, Bryn Forbes ain't going to have another, maybe, I don't know, likelihood of him shooting lights out again. Maybe not likely, but he's an excellent shooter. So we're going to have some regression to the mean. But,
I don't want to see Bryn Forbes killing from downtown again, walking around the court, scowling like Brian, looking like Brian Fonseca, walking around the court. We're not trying to see that again.
Look at like Tyler Hero with last year's bubbles with the snarl. Like, yeah,
that's overplayed. Where's that snarl this year? Nowhere.
Ain't nowhere.
ain't been nowhere. All right, we all got the Heat in this one. Second game of the night, Suns versus Lakers. I believe we all were split on this series and how it would go. I think 2 of us picked the Suns, 2 of us picked the Lakers. Lakers got a big win in game 2. Anthony Davis actually showed up and didn't look soft. He played very strong. Lakers are 6.5 point favorites in this contest. The over-under here is 211.5. Still don't know what's up with Chris Paul with the Suns. His shoulder doesn't look right. Wasn't able to come and play consistently in the second half of the last game. Gerard, I'll start with you on this one. I believe you picked the Suns here in this series.
I did. Suns in 7.
Suns in 7. We'll get to how you feel about that later. But for this game, do you like the Suns to bounce back after a letdown in game 2?
So the line's 6.5. I like the Suns to keep this close. I'm going to take the points I'm getting from Phoenix. I just like the moxie that this team is showing. Monty's going to have to do some different things, right? Chris wants to be out there, fine. Put him on the floor, but like do something different with him. Make him an off-ball cutter. Let Book run the point. Do some different things so that you have Chris Paul's presence out there. And if he's cutting to the lane, he gets some easy layups, things like that. Now, yes, Anthony Davis stat line-wise had an excellent game, but I watched him closely. Outside of that fourth quarter where he hit the big 3 and he got those couple blocks late, the Suns were pushing him out, making him shoot jumpers, and he was missing them joints in the middle 2 and 3 quarters, right? So while he had an excellent stat line, That's still, I think, the way to go. And look, LeBron James is still hurt. I don't care what none of y'all say. We're watching it. Dude is not exploding and getting to the rim. He's shooting turnaround, fadeaway jumpers. So if I'm the Phoenix Suns, do not send the double because LeBron's going to eat you alive when you send that double. That easy cross-court pass, finding wide open dudes for three, which, by the way, the Lakers shooting like 25% on wide open threes, which is problematic. But that's the story for a different day. Don't double. Turn him into like how the Blazers did to the Nuggets. Let Jokic score, no assist. Don't let LeBron get them dudes involved. Make him shoot jumpers all day because he's not exploding and getting to the rim. That's what I do.
Gerard, you talked about how you think the Suns, and particularly Monty Williams, should let Chris Paul play off the ball. Do you think Chris Paul's going to be down for that? Because he does not strike me as a dude who's going to be down for that.
The little general got to understand that when his arm is broken, he can't have the ball in his hands. All right, little general, you gotta just do some other shit right now.
little general, the little general that could. Murph, if I'm not mistaken, you also picked the Suns here, if I recall correctly. Do you like the Suns to bounce back tonight, whether little general is able to give it his all or not?
No, I mean, to me, this is a hard bet because it's all about whether Chris Paul is healthy, and it's a stinger. So a stinger could be couple days. It's already been longer than that. It could be a week, be a little more than a week. So, but once you're good, you're good. So we don't know. You have no idea how he's coming into this game. I just got to assume that it's probably not good yet. So I don't like their chances at all if Chris Paul isn't healthy at all. And even to keep it close. I mean, they lost by 7, with him playing a little bit here and there in Phoenix. The spread is 6.5 now. If he's not 100%, which for the sake of conversation, I'm going to assume he's not. I'm going to assume he's just a little better than he was last game, maybe. I got to go Lakers here to take this and win by 7 and cover that 6.5 spread. But I do feel good about the under in this game. If I'm not I think it's 210.5. Is that it?
211.5.
211.5. I think it was 210.5 last game 2. And that would have been under. I lost some money on that. That would have been under if it wasn't for Schroeder fouling Booker for no reason at the end of the game. Cost me the under right there. And then in the first game, it was 99-92. It wasn't even close to the 210. I think it was around 210 to 211 then also. So I'm gonna just assume that these are two of the best defensive teams in the league. They're gonna grind it out regardless whether Chris Paul is healthy or not. So I think you jump on the under here, but I'm gonna go Lakers minus 6.5 because I can't trust that Chris Paul is gonna be healthy.
That's fair. Shout out to Eric Chang. I see you checking in. Scott Foster game. Give me the Lakers first quarter and a half. Look at that. That's deep betting knowledge right there. You're looking at the refs.
Look at that. Wow. Lost his last 10 Scott Foster officiated playoff games. Damn.
Ain't
looking good for the Suns tonight.
Ain't looking good. And CP3, well, if CP3 doesn't play, does that change that? I guess. I don't know. But good research, good stats and research there by Eric Chang. Brian, are you going with the Suns or are you going with the Lake Show here tonight?
Come on, man. He's on Let LeBron propaganda season. You know that.
Well, for game 3 at least, I think the Lakers will take this one. For the reasons that you guys outlined, Murph, on the last one, without Chris Paul being 100%. And frankly, I think that we sort of forget, like, at this point of the season, and in this season in particular, ain't a lot of guys out here 100%. But it's visible with Chris Paul because you're looking at clips of him not being able to handle the ball that they're replaying over and over and things of that nature. He obviously can't be himself and play 40 minutes, and you would like him to. I think that the Lakers are going to take this one, though. I don't feel great about where LeBron James is health-wise, and I never feel great about where Anthony Davis is health-wise. But I think they have enough because, at least they have those two. Chris Paul, I think Devin Booker is going to have to win him a game on the road. And, we'll see if that could happen in game 3 or game 4. He's obviously capable of doing it, and I feel like he's at a different place in his career where, he's absolutely, ready to do it. I think that's more likely going to be game 4 than game 3, though. I'll be shocked to see the Lakers go down 2-1. But it would be very entertaining if it did happen.
Yeah. See, you gotta like that there, Gerard. That's actually not some LeBron propaganda.
Man, I want LeBron to sweat. I want LeBron to sweat this out, yo.
So he can then turn water into wine?
And you see, there we go. He already gave me no one's 100%. That is straight from the LeBron James propaganda book, right? I'll never be 100% ever again in my career.
But Gerard, you know, because I told you guys, I was like, who's the team that I want to make the finals the most in the Western Conference? Phoenix. You know, I want to see it happen, and I think whoever wins this series could very well get to the finals, but I have no idea who's going to the finals in like either conference right now.
I mean, totally. Luka and the Mavs might go to the finals at this rate.
Yeah,
right.
And look at both of y'all totally disrespecting the Jazz once again. Totally disrespecting.
I mean, I'm not disrespecting the Jazz.
Well, we know Brian ain't picking them.
Well, they're in the mix, though. I'm not going to say they're not in the mix. I ain't picking them.
See, I told you that. Told you that.
But here's the thing: like they're gonna get a banged up team next round too, no matter who it is, and they themselves are gonna be banged up too. Like I don't know, dog. Whoever's like we said it before, whoever's standing at the end of the season, it's like a football
got 7 bodies standing is gonna win this thing. 7, 8 healthy bodies, they gonna win.
There you go, folks. Go put your money on the Celtics. You do that right now. So 7, 8 bodies healthy standing.
They got 7 bodies, but they
anybody you want. I'm with y'all on this. The line, I like the Lakers here at home. Although I do think the concerns Gerard brought up about LeBron and even AD doing his best LaMarcus Aldridge impression in the second half, fading away on jump shots. Yeah, I do think that can be a little bit problematic, so keep your eye on that. But if you really want, I think the safe bet, I'm with Murph on this all the way. You got to bang the under on that 211.5. These teams have not shot good from three. I think the Suns are over 31%. The Lakers are just 28% for the series. Teams haven't shot with the ball well on three. The defenses have looked good. They're closing out very hard. I'm going with if you want a safe bet for this, if you want to stay away from the line, cool, I can get that. But that over-under, yeah, I'm taking the under on that one for sure. So we shall see. Last game of the night, Nuggets versus Blazers. Blazers are 4-point favorites going back home. Series tied at 1. The over-under in this, a completely different situation, 227.5. These teams can put up points for sure. Brian, are you riding with the Blazers to get a win back home in Portland?
I mean, it's been tough because we talked about this a little bit before the show. The role players for each side, they've been inconsistent so far. Millsap, Monte Morris, Campazzo, and Aaron Gordon were very good last time out. They shot 18 for 37 as a collective, and they combined for 52 points, whereas on the flip side, you had like Carmelo Anthony was struggling, Anthony Simons was struggling, et cetera, Nurkic. And CJ McCollum, though he did get his 20 points, he only took 12 shots, and Portland can't be having that. I'm going to take Portland here, but I kind of think it's going to play out similar to Lakers Suns, where the home team will get game 3, and then game 4 is really where it's going to be up for grabs. And I could see Denver easily making this 2-2 series. For me, this is the most 50-50 series right now in the first round. And for tonight, at least, I'm going to take Portland. And this is probably the only scenario where I'll take the over because both of these teams are not really guarding each other very well. Excuse me. So both of these teams are not really guarding each other very well. And I think that, Portland is probably going to put up 120, 125, and Denver is going to be somewhere close to that. So over and Portland.
All right, over and Portland. Murph, what about you here? I do agree with Brian. This has been a tough series in terms of calling. I think the one thing you can guarantee is points will be put up. Who do you like in tonight's matchup?
I'm big on Portland in this series. I'm disappointed in Portland the way they played game 2. Not that I necessarily thought they would win both games in Denver, but to basically get blown out by Denver and their backcourt of Campazzo and Austin. I mean, that's just embarrassing. I know they have their front court is very, very strong,
right. Yep.
But Portland should be the better team here. I mean, they have veterans who have a lot to prove. You know what I'm saying? Who have a lot to prove and have to win in the playoffs to prove that. And Denver's in this situation without one of their best players in Jamal Murray. You got to take advantage of this. Like I said, they did take care of business, and it's 1-1 now. But you can tell they're not getting really the respect I think they should in this matchup. They're only favored by 4 when they go home. So I think that they'll take care of business and cover that -4. I also think I agree with Brian that you got to go the over here. Both games have been over the over-under number that's up there right now. So it would just be the norm for them to get the over here. and it may be way over, like Brian was saying. So give me Portland. I think Portland takes both games in Portland, and they get out of this series in 5 or 6.
Oh, nice. Looking ahead, Portland with this home sweep there. Gerard, well, what about you? Any love for your boy Jokic and the Blazers to go up 2-1 here?
I'm with Murph and Brian on the over for sure. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. That's the easy bet. But I'm going with the Nuggets, guys. Look, I know the Campazzo and Rivers backcourt minutes are yikes. Like, that is just ugly. Actually, it's downright nasty. It's just not nasty in the good way. Like, it's just ugh. But I do expect Michael Porter Jr. to have a big game in a big road playoff game. I think Aaron Gordon has a bounce back game. Look, Denver needs PJ Dozier and Will Barton bad, and unfortunately, Dozier not going to be back for this playoff series, and Barton still with the hamstring. We don't know, but I do like Jokic, Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon to step up on the road here, win Game 3, go up 2-1. You know, then I see Portland winning Game 4, but as I said, I picked Nuggets in 6, so that's where I'm sticking.
Nuggets in 6. All right. I think for me, Murph brought up the point about the spread with the 4 points and how Portland probably should be favored a bit more here. That does concern me as well. I'm a little bit iffy on the spread. I can see this game being really tight. I don't know why, despite a lot of points, so I would stay away from that. However, I do think Portland will find a way to win. I feel pretty good about that. I just think it's going to be really close. Wouldn't shock me if this came down to the last possession here. So my bet would be, if you feel good about the Blazers, take them with the money line. Definitely bang that over. I think that's definitely the sure bet here. But I'm a little bit iffy on the spread right there. I feel like Portland should be higher, maybe 7-8 points in this. But
there's a reason why.
But there's a reason why. No, fair point, right? Like, there's absolutely a reason why here. And I think the point is that they haven't taken care of business. They haven't punished the backcourt of Denver. But at the same time, you know, Denver, as you mentioned, Gerard, has a really good front court, and they should be punishing Portland's front court, which isn't necessarily as talented. So it's really easy.
The series has gotten chippy, too.
Yeah, it has. I go with, and look, you know, Brian's loving that, especially his boy Campazzo mucking stuff up.
Yeah.
You know he likes that. I lean towards Portland here, but I would probably take him with the money line. I just don't want to play around with that spread because I think it'll be too tight. But yeah, bang that over for sure. That's definitely for sure. All right, guys, moving on. Let's look a little ahead, or look back in a way too. Who is in trouble in the NBA playoffs? Some teams are in trouble. You know what team's in trouble? The people's team. The team that people have liked the last couple of years. They've got all defensive wings. They're going to win the title last year, and they didn't. They're a new team this year. Los Angeles Clippers. They are down 2-0 to Luka Doncic and the fighting Kristaps Porzingis. 2-0. The Heat, they're also down 2-0 to the Milwaukee Bucks. The Celtics, they are also down 2-0 to the Brooklyn Nets, although I think more people expected that. And if you let Nets fans tell it, nobody still respects them anyway. Who do we think is the best bet to get back into a series if they're down 2-0? And do you think there are any teams, if you look at the series where it's 1-1, where you're looking at those teams and you're like, hey, they might be in trouble too? Murph, I'll start with you. We can talk about the Clippers. You know how I feel about the Clippers, man. Clippers are going to clip. Been telling y'all that. Clippers are going to clip. We are watching it happen again. Are the Clippers in trouble in your eyes? Any of these other two teams down 2-0 in trouble in your eyes? Or any teams tied at 1-1 in trouble in your eyes? Who's in trouble?
Oh, the Clippers are in trouble. Let's not get it twisted. They are in trouble. I'm not saying that they can't turn around. I'm not putting them in the grave quite yet, but they're very, very close.
But you're digging that ditch. That ditch
you got a 6 foot empty spot right here.
I've already pre-dug the grave.
I already pre-dug it.
You know what I'm saying? It's ready. There's a spot waiting.
The shovels is planted there.
Yeah, we got the headstone, everything. It's ready. But so we'll see. In terms of the teams you mentioned, I think there's no question the Heat have the best chance. I mean, they're going home. We already talked about that. And then I would give the Clippers, I guess, the next best shot. The Celtics are done. There's no chance there unless all three of them dudes get hurt. Unless KD, Kyrie, and James Harden get hurt, then maybe they got a shot. But no, I mean the Clippers. I mean, the interesting thing is, I just looked at the line for Friday. And Vegas still believes the Clippers are actually favored. They're a 2-point favorite to win game 4. I guess people just believe. They just believe that because of the talent.
They're the Clippers. They're the Clippers.
I don't know, man. So, and they're desperate, but what does that mean? They should have been desperate last game. So maybe I don't know if they are capable of playing with desperation. So, but we'll see. We'll see next game. But I mean, I don't know I don't even know what to say about the Clippers. I'm speechless.
I'm not, because Clip's going to clip. Gerard, I talked to you about this the other day in the NBA Exchange about how much trouble. So I know you think they're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
The Clippers for sure. Are the Clippers also getting a bit of a pass here? You know, because when you see that from Murph, where you're looking ahead at the line for Friday, and they're still 2-point favorites going back home, and they don't really have much of a home court advantage because nobody in LA cares about the Clippers. That's a whole other story. Why are people still believing the Clippers? They're in trouble. Murph is the grave ready for the Clippers. The shovel's right there. You just got to throw the dirt on top of it, and they still 2-point favorites on Friday? Come on.
So you guys know when you do anything investment-wise in the market or with stocks or securities, you get a little pamphlet from the Security and Exchange Commission with some fine print at the bottom. What does that fine print say? Past performance is not indicative of future returns, right? Like that's what it says. So for whatever reason, we get in that SEC slip, like, we know what they did in the past, but that's not indicative of future results. Shit, when it comes to the Clips, apparently past performances are in fact indicative of future results.
Word.
Look, this team, I don't know, and I talked about this with you on the exchange. They're just not connected defensively. Like offensively, they're fine. Defensively, I just don't know what they're doing. And as much as defense is about keeping your individual man in front of you, you got to trust that your teammate's going to be in help position. Like, and Murph and I were chatting about this in the group chat. You cannot send fucking Rajon Rondo and Patrick Beverly at Luka on double teams. He's 6'8". What are you doing? Like, if you're going to double, hard double with size, like, or don't, or go single with Kawhi and Paul George. Like, do one or the other. But these half stunty, we're not sure. No. And then, Luka killing Pat Bev on switches. I mean, it's just all bad, dude. So the Clippers have to win 4 of the next 5 games. Does anybody think that is realistically possible against this Luka Doncic? I don't. So they're in trouble. As far as the Miami Heat, we're going off of past performance, right? We are saying past performance are in fact indicative of what they'll do in the future. And it's all reputation. Look, again, we're saying Jimmy, Spo, they're G's. They ain't going to get suckered. They better show up. So I'm teetering on them. Of course, the Celtics are in trouble. That's a wrap. I mean, come on. That ain't even a thing. And the Suns, they got to win, in my estimation, game 3. Because if they go down 2-1, Lakers might steamroll. Especially if Chris Paul is hurt. They got to win game 3.
The interesting thing to me about the Clippers, you said, is about their defense not being connected. That was the whole thing we were supposed to buy into on the Clippers, right? The whole thing was that they got these 2 wings. They're supposed to be great defensively, and now they can't even stop Luka, who's just absolutely killing them. And you got Tim Hardaway Jr., who I wanted to drive to the airport a couple of years ago, and he's killing them like it's
the other thing they're doing too, from a rotation standpoint, when Kawhi does get on Luka, Kawhi actually is doing well, right? Again, you're never going to stop superstars. The point is to make them uncomfortable and make them inefficient. Kawhi's doing fine. The problem is, with the way the NBA is now, Luka just hunts and waits to get somebody to switch off. And Murph said this in the chat, don't fucking switch sometimes. Fight through that damn screen and just stay on top of that dude.
Right. And if you do switch and Beverly's stuck on him, don't give Luka 10 seconds, back him down and get a layup, and nobody... I don't know what's going on.
They're just out here leaving Beverly alone by himself. That's your boy, Brian.
Leave him in the trenches taking grenades, man.
And the grave is ready. Brian, you can give me how you feel about the Clippers. Maybe you feel like they have a chance. Maybe you feel like we shouldn't be digging a grave on the Clippers. Are your Miami Heat in trouble, or are they still alive here?
If I really wanted to, I could probably make an argument that the Wizards have a better chance of coming back than the Clippers. I really wanted to. The Washington Wizards, who we have not mentioned yet, who got killed by the Sixers, and I think still have more life than the Boston Celtics. All right, like because at least they got dudes that are gonna like play hard. I mean,
that's true.
Jason Tatum is a leader. Kemble's a leader, but he's shot right now. I don't know, man. But the Celtics are cooked. The Wizards are probably cooked, and the Clippers. I just don't like going to Dallas now because they lost the first 2 games at home. Now we talked about how earlier. 2-0 lead is not something that's insurmountable. We've seen it almost 30 times. We've seen it almost 30 times in NBA history, except I don't know if any of those were with the road team winning the first 2, right? And on top of that, the Clippers they're not wired like the Heat or the Bucks seem to be, or the Nets to some degree, or at least those 3 dudes, or even LeBron and AD, especially LeBron. Like, outside of Kawhi, it doesn't seem like they're sort of built to make this comeback. And Luka Doncic, like one of the things about these superstars, it's like one day you look up and it's like, oh shit, like we're in the middle of it right now. I remember where I was when like Oklahoma City was starting to make that run, and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden and Serge Ibaka, and that was supposed to be the core 4. I'm not going to get into it because Gerard's going to
I'm gonna get real fired up.
Make this a 4-hour-long program, and he'll be right about all those points, by the way. But, like, you see it, like LeBron in 2007. That team, that Cleveland Cavaliers team had no business being in the finals, and we know what ended up happening. But still, I think we're in the middle of that with Luka. That's not to say that they're going to go all the way to the finals. They do have a chance, though. Because here's the thing, like going forward, right now he's the best player in the series. They are going to win this series, and they're probably going to do it in 6 games at most at this point. I would say 6 because I still respect Kawhi Leonard too much. And as much as we shit on Paul George, like Paul George could still ball. He just has to like play better. But who's really going to stop Luka in the Western Conference if he doesn't want to get stopped?
Rudy Gobert.
In the Utah series, he's well. Here's the thing. In the Utah series, he's going to be the best player in that series. And then after that, you're talking about either Portland, Denver, the Lakers, who are banged up and are probably not going to get healthier as the playoffs move along, or Phoenix. Like Dallas has a real chance to make it to the NBA Finals here, like a real chance. As I started processing this, now we'll see what happens with KP if he can be healthy, because that's another like interesting variable there. But off Luka alone, like But to answer the question, obviously the Heat have the best chance. I don't think any of these teams are probably going to win the series, but the Heat have the best chance. Probably not even close. I'll be surprised if they lose tonight and go down 3-0. I would still say that even so, I think they could still win 2 games in that series and make it interesting and put up a fight. You at least know that compared to the other teams, they're going to put up a fight. They have the guys, like they're able to at least win a game or 2 in the series. Like right now, everywhere else, like I don't know where you're getting at with the Clippers, the Celtics, or the Wizards.
Are there any 1-1 teams, guys, that you kind of brought up the Suns before, Gerard. Are there any other 1-1 team guys that you think are in trouble? Could it be the Knicks? I mean, the Knicks kind of saved themselves from an 0-2 hole and being in trouble. Any of these 1-1 series where you think a team is in trouble?
I'm going to say the Knicks. And I'm really just saying that to fuck with Knicks fans. Because, I mean, did you see Knicks fans out on Broadway acting like they're in the NBA Finals?
Wildin'.
What is going on out here?
You know what it is, though? They're just
realistic.
They're just reminding you whose city it is. That's really all it is. You
know what I'm saying? Listen. Let's just put this conversation to bed right now, because I talked about this a million times today. There is no debate about whose city it is. It is the Knicks city. Everybody knows that. Why are we even having this conversation?
No.
Knicks fans sound like Mets fans. Like, you know, be at the Mets game and you're talking about Yankees suck.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, what you
I've been there. I don't understand why the Knicks are bugging like this. I guess Knicks fans really are feeling that heat from having those 3 guys over there.
See, that's the thing.
No.
I don't think that's 100.
Keep it 100.
It's not even that, though.
Knicks fans feel some kind of way because they thought they were getting KD and Kyrie, and they didn't.
I actually don't think it's that.
100.
No, I don't think it's that.
That could be part of it, but here's the thing, though. Like, you have to remember, if I could defend Knicks fans here, they were the ones being talked down to the last few years from net fans, and that being perpetuated online in ways that were
like 10 net fans. What net fans? Like 10 of them dudes.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold on. That's his point. And Brian and I talked about this with nuance, which you would appreciate, Gerard, on our podcast about why this is and why there's no debate to what you and Murph were saying in the fact that this.
And who got mad? Mad?
And we didn't say anything bad. We said nothing bad about the Nets. And they came to me like I said, this sucks. I'm not from Brooklyn. I don't live in Brooklyn no more. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What's like, why are y'all so sensitive about this? And here's the thing. I've been saying this. None of this matters. Who cares?
None of it matters.
Dex,
they were trying to argue with Dex on the day of his daughter's birthday.
You said be ashamed of yourself.
And you don't root for him. I don't know. You might need to move out of the borough, son.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. You know what? I can't ever rep Flatbush anymore.
I don't know what you're doing out here, man.
You know what I'm doing? I'm like, I'm gonna bring it back to this. I like having a good callback. I'm from an era where I damn sure knew who the team was in town, and it was the Knicks. That's it. So don't tell me nothing about that.
Reality, son.
Look,
and if I'm gonna be real, like, here's the thing, like, and also as part of the marketing, the Nets clinging to Biggie over and over doesn't necessarily help, but that's another perception.
You're right now. We got three of the best players in the NBA. We're out there making sweet music on the court.
We won't ever know.
Unguardable. Look at Unguardable out there.
Look.
Drives dishes to KD. KD drives dishes to Harden. Harden drives dishes to Harris. I mean, that's ridiculous. Come on, man.
Right. So with all that being said, why is then some people, and I cover this not all, but some people in that fan base so insecure about it? Y'all got the three players. It's nice. It's exciting.
I think here's what I think it'll.
Because they know people aren't going to care like that.
It's like Mets fans. Mets fans know. Mets like from baseball. Mets fans know this is a Yankee town. Mets fans know that. But in the off chance, whenever the Yankees happen to be bad and the Mets are good, Mets fans want to puff their chest and be like, yeah, because they get to get shit on the majority of the time, right? So they want to feel good for a week when their team is good. Conversely, for Nets fans, they deep down, if you give them true serum, they know it's a Knicks town.
Of course they know it.
They know it. But their up one up over Knicks fans is we got the guys you wanted. So they just puffing their chest out, feeling good. That's all. That's all it is.
For the Nets, it's going to come down. They have to win it all.
No doubt.
Because they have, and if they do win it all, they're going to get some more fans out of the deal.
Because get some bandwagoners.
This is a bandwagon town. Even when the Nets are in the finals, you're going to see a lot of more people out there rooting for the Nets than you thought. Because people love a winner. And if these three guys win a championship, remember that's the first basketball championship to come out of New York in how long?
Since the 70s.
Those three dudes will be respected and appreciated.
They'll get some love in NYC for sure.
I agree with all that, and I think Gerard's point with the Mets, and whenever you have the little brother complex, which Brian and I talked about on the podcast, whether you're a Mets fan, you're a Jets fan, which I grew up as a Mets and Jets fan, so I've been around people with this little brother complex. Here's the thing I'm saying about that. I think your point's right, Gerard. At some point, you gotta grow up. And when I see young people having that complex, I'm like, I get it. But when we're talking to 40-year-old men on Twitter, and they talking to me about I'm in the age range of 30 to 45, which is like 15 years is not an age.
That means how old you are.
That means you're 45. That's what it means. And no shade to
you're 30. Or you're 30. You try to front like you're older.
Yeah. And by the way, in that whole thing, I'm supposed to be the young dude, and I'm the one who doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
And these were the people getting mad about the whole. But this has been an ongoing thing because I covered the Nets from 2016 to 2019. Like I've seen all of this up close.
And you used to be on the other side. You used to argue the other side.
What do you mean?
I used to have arguments with you, Brian, about how Madison Square Garden was just different. Even like the Nets would never.
No, because that was more about. But that was more about in terms of like team building. Like I said, they're building a team where like a star is going to want to go there. But it also so happens that they were the right team at the right time for those stars to come there. They weren't joining the Nets because they want to be a part of this lifelong institution that is all this rich tradition. It's like, no, they figured out how to be viable. They have cap space. They're in a location that's at least a big market. Let's go
rock
there.
with it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if the Knicks had their shit together earlier, that probably could have been them. The Knicks now going into this offseason, they're in a position where they can do something. It's not going to be that because this free agency class doesn't have that necessarily unless it's Kawhi Leonard. But they're viable. Like the whole point of all of this stuff is to win. Like we saw it in that same year that the Nets got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. The Clippers also got Kawhi Leonard and to come with him, Paul George. I will remind you that Jimmy Butler was approached first, not Paul George.
Of course, you remind us of that.
Ahead of this offseason, I feel like that's something that is worth mentioning.
I think it is worth mentioning.
That's why
not going to Miami? Chill, Brian.
The only thing I will
Rachel
say
Nichols said it might be possible. Okay,
listen, Rachel be talking shit sometimes.
It's like, chill. Look.
I will not say a bad word about Rachel.
The only thing I will say
about I love Rachel.
The only thing I will say is that, look, like I said, at some point you don't have to live that life anymore. You don't have to be the little brother worrying about, oh man, well, I don't wonder what they think about me. I'll go walk around the city and see who's wearing more jerseys. If you do that, you care too much. Like you care way too much about
it. Also means you probably have younger fans because like I don't even wear jerseys anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like,
also to be fair, also though, Dex, Knicks fans were the ones after game 2 going out into Broadway yelling, "We want Brooklyn!" Like, just get
Where do you want them in the?
Yeah, you're not getting there. And so my thing is, the Knicks fans doing that. No. I think they're corny too. I don't understand why any of these people care about these other teams in the way they do. That's the point I'm making overall. I'm killing the Knicks fans on this too. Like, I don't understand it. Like, just focus on your team.
Exactly.
The Nets, you got a resurgence going on there.
Cool,
The Knicks, you've been coming back. The Garden is rocking. It's beautiful. Basketball's being talked about in New York. Who cares? Who cares? Like, I don't think there's people really care about this. It's just insecure people on both fan bases.
Yes.
Who's
a bot, clearly. Clearly a bot.
Keep saying John Morant randomly. No, because that's one area where I do sympathize with Net fans is because like, yo, we got this team, we're supposed to be good. People are should be talking about us, this and that. And then like for example, when we were having the back and forths on Twitter, like somebody sent me jersey sales and like, oh, the Nets had the second biggest jersey sales in the league or whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything because it's not about the Nets as an institution. That's about the players. Again, like that goes back to the point where like these guys chose you and it didn't really matter. Doubt. Like, it's not like LeBron chose the Lakers because they're the Lakers. Like that's a different thing. If they're not the Lakers, he just stays home in Cleveland. Ultimately,
the Nets fans need to be like, look, we ain't New York ain't ours, right?
Became a dynasty.
They would be, but if you're the Nets,
they would change the fan base probably.
Again, if you're a Nets fan, it don't matter about like if you run New York or not. Like that should not be what you're concerned about. You should be concerned about: do I win a championship? Can we get a title run or two out of this group? And know that nationally you are relevant, right? You are the second most talked about team nationally. Yes, in New York you are not the number 1 team, but nationally you are the number 2 team. That matters.
That matters, and it's okay. Sometimes, in certain times, as a group of Mets fan, you're going to be number 2. The Mets are never going to be the Yankees. I'm okay with that. I'm fine. I'm not so insecure. I have to be like, man, what is going to happen if the Yankees do? Man, grow up. Stop being light in the pants, like we said last week. Grow up and stop being light in the pants. Had enough of that. All right, just want to remind everybody.
What y'all think about John Morant, though? Clearly somebody wants to know.
He has raised his profile. I'll give him that.
He was not light in the pants last night when he played against the Jazz. That's for sure.
He tried to kill Rudy Gobert on that dunk.
I don't know what was he doing right there. That was crazy.
Yeah, John don't care. That's what it is.
You were with me, I think, Murph. We talked to him down at All Star when he was down there for the rookie sophomore game or whatever. Them dudes, like, I'm not saying he's not disrespectful, but he's not scared of any of these like vet, like established superstars. None of that shit. He's like, nah, I'm fucking good. I'm going at your neck.
I didn't get the point of what he was trying to do. Were you trying to dunk it in Gobert's hands?
Yeah, he's
just trying to see what he can do. Thought
he could yam on him,
You know what I'm saying? You got to be the same way in media rooms sometimes. So I understand where he's coming from. So let's agree. You know what I'm saying? Like
gotta yam on people in their media rooms.
Well, you know what? Some people needed to be yammed on.
You think that I go in the same rooms with some of these people and be shook? Fuck no. Like John Moran. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Always, Brian.
Wait till it's really over. Shit.
Brian always looking for the smoke. All right, guys, if you like the show, you're watching us, please be sure to subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel. See a lot of comments in here. Our man Eric Cheng rocking with us, finding this hilarious, and also the bots that are in here that are hilarious too. We appreciate you, bots. we absolutely do. Along with all the other real viewers up here, but definitely please subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel. You can follow us and see our show every Thursday at 6. All right, guys, last segment of the night. You know what time it is. Keep it 100. It's how you're going to spend your $100 tonight. Could also involve it in tomorrow's game, some games over the weekend. Maybe you want to change your bets on some of these series that are going on. Whatever it is that you want to do. Brian, I'll start with you. How are you keeping it 100? And I feel like you should, when it comes to kerfuffle, because what we've seen in the last 24 hours, it should not necessarily be between players and the courts. Shit is getting real between players and idiots who think they're privileged in the stands doing too much. And I feel like one of these players might punch somebody out. Somebody might get Steven Jackson. In the mouth. Yeah, they might get that Steven Jackson to them. Brian, I feel like that's got to be your next bet. It's got to be a kerfuffle. $1 fan getting punched out. I just want to know which city. Is it? Say Utah. Say Utah. Go ahead.
I mean, it kind of has to be, right? But we'll save that. We'll say, because look, for all the shit that like I talk about on the Utah Jazz, and we know Gerard loves the Jazz. Let's be clear, he only likes their basketball team. You know what I'm saying? Like,
although Salt Lake City, you going for Tribeca Film is dope.
Well, I was going to say
for Sundance,
the
Sundance
team,
Sundance,
parts of the location. The fans of the basketball team.
And hold on a second. To our man Eric Chang. Russell Westbrook is not intense. If somebody pours popcorn on me, they're gonna see hands. Somebody trying to spit on me, they're gonna see these hands. No, that ain't intense. You can't have nobody disrespect you like that. Come on. Go on, Brian.
In the interest of safety for the NBA players, I will not use a $1 bet on that. But look, if it happens, one of y'all probably had it coming.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start off at $20. Blazers over the Nuggets, as we talked about for Game 3, not for the series necessarily, because I'm still being a little scared about that. I have no idea which way this is gonna go. But Game 3 may determine that. So $20 there. We're gonna do $15 on this. Just stick with me here. You know, may get confusing, but whatever. I'm going to do 3 finals bets. $15 on the Bucks getting to the finals is plus 550 right now. I just like the odds. $10 on the Sixers getting to the finals is plus 700. $5 on the Mavs making it to the finals. That's plus 1,600 right now. So we're going to take – matter of fact, I'm going to make that $15 on
there
the
you
Mavs.
go.
Plus 1,600. 5 ain't enough.
It's too good.
I kind of – like as we were going through it, kind of talked myself into it a little bit earlier. So got $40 left. We're gonna go 39 on the Heat over the Bucks tonight. Though I think the Bucks are probably gonna win that series. And the $1 bet, I'm actually gonna go with a kerfuffle between players, not between fans. And I'm gonna go Bam Adebayo, Brook Lopez, because I feel like on some level, like Bam, if Brook is gonna just stay in the paint and basically, you know, call you a bitch without doing it verbally, you got to make jumpers, but you also got to step to him and come see him at some point. You know, like you just have to. And like the thing that we talked about this before, but there are NBA players who we know are capable of more than they show. Bam has obviously done more than he's shown these first 2 games, so I think that he's going to wake up. And he's going to have to see Brook Lopez if he does not, or even if he does.
All right. Otherwise, he'll be seeing Brook Lopez's dream. Murph, how you keep spending your $100 tonight?
All right, I'm gonna keep it simple as usual. I'm gonna put $25 on Portland -4 tonight. I'm gonna put 25 on the Phoenix Lakers under. I believe it's 211 at the moment. I'm gonna put 25 tomorrow on that team from Brooklyn. They're -7.5. I know pre-series, I was like, oh, Boston might be able to keep, a game or two close. The way Brooklyn looked those first, at least the second game for sure, nah, it's not going to happen. They played poorly the first game and still covered that spread. So I don't care. I don't think the venue's going to matter. Those Boston fans could be as racist as they want to Kyrie. It's all good. He's still 30 probably. And then this is just for the hell of it, just to give them support. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Don't do it. Don't do it for the Clippers. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Support. 25 on the Clippers minus.
Oh, you're gonna regret that. You're gonna regret that in like 10 seconds.
They better.
Yeah, they better. Gonna be down 0-3.
Hey, you know who's somewhere smiling about that? Doc Rivers.
Yeah, I thought Doc was the problem. I thought
Doc was the problem. All right,
Doc was the problem. We knew Doc.
We did know that. They just had to do it.
But it was funny when they asked him about something that Paul George had said, and then he kind of blamed Doc, and he was like, "But Lou, Tyronn Lue
right next to me
too. He's right there." He's like, "Dude could have said something there."
Word. All right, Gerard, how you spending your 25?
All right, I'm going $25.
Your 100, sorry.
Yep, 25 of my 100 is going to be on Kyrie prop on Friday, points and assists, whatever it is, I'm going over. Kyrie about to cook these fools tomorrow.
Don't have that sage burning.
Listen, Brian, I am Jimmy ain't no punk. I'm going 25 on Jimmy to score 30 plus tonight. I'm getting plus 275 odds on that. That MFer better do his thing.
Or else what?
I mean, I ain't gonna do shit.
What? Please.
What is all 5 foot 9.5, 160 pounds of me gonna do to Jimmy Butler? Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing, brother. Not a damn thing.
Unlike y'all stupid ass fans out there, I know better than to open my mouth against people like that. I don't say stuff.
I gotta respect that. Got to.
Ass motherfuckers. All right. Seriously. And then I'm going to go 25. It's a parlay. Even though I want Phoenix to win tonight, that's like my heart. I'm going 25 Lakers Nuggets parlay to win tonight plus 250.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to find odds somewhere at some illegal offshore book back. Somebody is going to say something racist in Boston tomorrow. $25 on that. One of y'all idiots going to say something.
Real quick, Dex, before you go.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm going to be glued to that game because this series has been very boring because the Celtics just aren't bringing it, so I haven't seen too much of it. I'm honestly a little nervous about what the reaction is going to be from Celtics fans, and not in a good way. So I think it's going to be entertaining and potentially for the wrong reasons. Though I do agree, Kyrie's going to have a great game, and the Nets probably blow them out.
Here's the thing:
but, if you thought fuck Trae Young was bad, like we'll see what happens.
And that's the thing about Boston. Like their fans are they're so sensitive to being called racist, even though they, in fact. A portion of them are in fact that
being called racist is worse than being racist. You didn't know?
Yes, correct. That's why they're gonna be fired up. And your man Danny Ainge out here being like, no Celtic players ever told me anything about anything racist happening. Marcus Smart was like, oh, that's not true because shit's happening. Danny, it's more of an indictment on you, right? That your players can't talk to you about that stuff. So it's got to be live in Boston. And listen, the Nets. They're gonna feed Kyrie like they'll be like, Kyrie, do your thing. You know, KD and Harden gonna gassing him up the whole time.
I hope so. I hope Kyrie
first game in Boston since he left, by the way.
Since he left.
First game with fans.
First game with fans in Boston since he left, yeah.
First game with fans since he left. And look, I think that's a great bet, Gerard, because come on. It's Boston. That's damn near guaranteed. Well, I'm not sure you get good odds on that because they know it's gonna happen. They know it's gonna happen. Like we all know this. We're like, I don't know. What's the odds on that? Minus 500?
That's why I didn't take the Nets to go to the finals because it's like minus 200 right now. For what? You get no odds on that.
Yeah. Oh, fans being racist in Boston, that's more like minus 2,000. That's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like that. All right, for my keep it 100. I'm going with the Heat. Love that $25 for them against the Bucks. With that minus 1.5 for the Bucks. I love the Heat spread. I think the Heat win there for sure. Give me also another 25 on the Lakers. with the -6.5. I like that there as well too. I'm also I found a parlay that I like, and look, this is going to be some New York unity here, people.
Uh-oh.
This can happen. This can actually go down. I'm picking the Knicks and Nets to win on Friday night. Parlay
like
plus
I like
225. Knicks and Nets. You know I'm sticking with the motto Knicks and 5. I ain't wavering off that at all. Knicks and 5, man.
They gonna
Knicks
win
and
4
5.
straight? Woo, boy.
Nets sweep. I'm going with that. And my last 25, yeah, I'm gonna put more. I'm not gonna be light in the pants on this. We're gonna put more money on this. Let's take this a step further. We know the odds ain't great on something racist happening in Boston because it's Boston. It's gonna happen. But what are the odds that somebody not just says something racist to a player, but then tries to get up in a player's face? We've seen the evolution of this, right? We've seen somebody throw the popcorn in Philly because they don't know how to act down there either. On Russell Westbrook. We've seen somebody try to spit on Trae Young, which is absolutely ridiculous. That happened. Now I feel like some fan is going to get real froggy, and they're going to leave. And they're going to step up on a player, run up on the court, and that player is going to shove him down. $25 on that happening. Where else would it happen? Boston. That's where it's going to happen. Got to happen in Boston. I'm going with that happening in Boston. I don't even know. Brian, you tell me, is that a kerfuffle? Is that a confrontation?
You know what it is?
Like, what do we call that?
Something that I really, really want to see happen. That's what we call that. That's what we call that. Just something I really want to see happen. Like I think you call that a shit. At the end of it, you'll call it a one and done. That's what I do.
I like that. There we go.
That's
one
the
and
thing.
done.
It's not even, we know about what happened in Auburn Hills, the Mouse, the Palace, all that stuff, and that got framed in such the wrong way. The fans were the instigators the entire way in that whole thing. Look, if you are a fan and you step foot onto the playing court, you get whatever is coming your way. Whatever happens to you, hey man, should have known better than get your ass up in grown folks' business. All right?
And let me say this too. This is a totally different sport, but you'll see where I'm going here. That has happened in professional wrestling. And it never, ever goes well for the person charging the ring. There are very entertaining videos that I would recommend, wrestling fan or not, that you look up on YouTube. You have examples of people coming into the ring. Triple H hits somebody. A referee drops somebody before. Like, there's some really, really good ones.
Is it real or is it staged?
No, like real, because the camera's trying to cut away and all this shit. Like, no, that's real. The real deal, dog. This is a little different.
But that's almost that, and I understand, and some of you guys might have seen this too. Almost as entertaining in sports is almost entertaining because you never get to see this on TV. Is you're at a sporting event, is somebody decides to jump on the field and run across, particularly in football. And there is nothing funnier than seeing this in football. Somebody jumps. I saw this once at the Jet game. Somebody jumped out 20-yard line, middle of the game. And it was during a timeout, TV break, and they ran. The dude probably got to almost the other 20, and then it was like he evaded one cop. Cops came from everywhere. He tried to give somebody the juke. That didn't go so well. Three of them state troopers were on him, and I was just like, man. And all I could think was like, I hate to say it, but I was like, if you look like me, I think that would have ended a lot quicker. I don't think it would have lasted as long as it did there. I don't think so.
There's a 4-minute video on YouTube. It's called "Fans Who Successfully Attacked Wrestlers."
I don't know why, but I'm here to watch this. I don't even know. Brian said that to me. I'm here to watch it.
I'm gonna send it to y'all, and let me tell you, sometimes, usually for the fan, it does not end well.
It doesn't end well. Well, look, like Gerard is saying, I think if a fan ends up on the court, ends up in somebody's face, and it's not going to end well. And it's not going to happen. These fans are, in all serious talk, guys, like these fans are seriously wilding out. They're wilding out right now, and you cannot. This is the way you got to look at it. Brian made this point to me earlier and said, it's these fans with their privilege and they're not looking at the players as human beings and people. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting when you look at who are the fans that are doing this and how they look and how the players look. And look, this is where these guys work, the entertainers. You don't get to roll up to somebody's job and do this. I've said this a lot of times as a reporter out in the street, the stuff people do when you're reporting on camera, jumping in your shot, doing all kinds of stuff. I don't come to your job and bother you. Right. So I understand why Russell Westbrook somebody threw popcorn on him, wanted to run up in the stands. And he should. Look, I don't condone violence. I'm not saying the player should have done it, but They should have saw those hands. That's all.
Well, you know, as our good friend Brian likes to say, the reason why some of these cats feel like they're so emboldened because they never got punched in the mouth before, right? Like if you've been on the other end of getting knocked out by somebody for doing something you weren't supposed to do, I bet you don't do those things no more. Right? Like
notice, yeah, and notice a lot. Like I don't see a lot of black people or Latinos or otherwise running onto the field during games.
A
lot of the times when you see it, like the streakers and just the people just trying to create nonsense in general. These are people from certain parts of the world of a certain kind who probably have never gotten into these kind of fights before. That's not to say like it's just strictly white people, but it's a specific kind of person who comes from an area like a rich part of Boston who's probably never gotten to a physical altercation before. The rest of us, we kind of grew up having to use our hands, so we kind of know what can come if things go the wrong way.
I mean, there's just also got to be a code, right? Code is just don't mess with people.
Ain't no working class citizens out there, bro.
Nah.
But see, they look at it like they're just there for my entertainment. So
all right. When you get them hands though.
Oh, and the thing is about when you get them hands, it's gonna be for my entertainment. That's what's gonna happen. Because I'll be entertained by watching somebody get beat down. I'll be entertained by that. Because we all know how many times did you watch the Malice at the Palace? Woo! Steven Jackson hit that dude. I was watching that over and over and over again.
Yo, if Artest or was it Jermaine O'Neal? If one of them had connected on that punch, I was like, oh my God.
Jermaine O'Neal.
Killed that fan. I was like, yo.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the other thing, too. We're talking about running onto the court in an NBA game. And look, you can say what you want about the toughness of the NBA. I don't think a lot of NBA players can fight necessarily, but the average person running on to the like they're 5'9", probably 205. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie, he may look small on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
6'3". He's 6'3". You know what I mean? I don't know if Kyrie got hands, but he won't need them. You know what I'm saying? He won't need them.
So you want to see something entertaining this weekend? Somebody run on the court during the Clippers game. Maybe that'll wake them up. Maybe that'll make it.
I want to see if Kawhi got hands.
Oh, get them. Oh man. Kawhi.
Nah, I wouldn't sleep on Kawhi. I wouldn't sleep on Kawhi.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, see, Murphy's like, I wouldn't mess with him.
What if a Clipper fan just ran on the court and smacked Paul George?
I mean,
why are we laughing though?
I mean, like if it woke him up, would it be for the better?
Yes, it would.
It would. Like, so Murph, this is where you at. You like whatever it takes for you to win that bet because you put money on the. You gonna put money on the Clippers?
Clippers fan, you'll do that. Okay.
He said, "Run on the court, smack."
Yo, oh man, this has been too good. All right, that's it for this episode of NBA Picks and Props. Remember, Brian's book, Hidalgo Heights, is out next week. Show it to the people, Brian. Hidalgo Heights. There you go. Looking like the next edition of GTA 6. That's exactly what the cover looks like. That's no shade. That's credit to the artwork.
Yeah.
That's not shade at all.
GTA and The Sims, that's what people are saying. So
yeah, inspired, inspiration. Be sure to check out my man Jamal Murphy writing for The Undefeated. Also, the Up Next pod, talking about all the future stars coming up. You can check him out. And be sure to check out my man Gerard Hector on True Hoop. Also, every Wednesday with me on the NBA Exchange, bringing you more analytics and numbers that you didn't know that you needed. But break it down like that. All right. Thanks, guys. Another good episode. We will be back next Thursday. And there'll be a lot to talk about next Thursday because maybe by that time, the Clippers will have fully clipped already and they'll be out the playoffs, or maybe they'll still be alive. Maybe the Heat will still be battling. Maybe it'll be Knicks in 5. Be celebrating
Probably
after
not.
that. Come on. Anybody else want to join the party?
Nah, son.
son.
Go for the split.
Go for the split. No. Come on, man. We can't be light in the pants here. That's what you said, Murph. We can't be light in the pants. We can't be light in the pants here. All right, y'all. That's it for this edition of NBA Picks and Props. We'll be back next week at 6 p.m. Eastern to rock with y'all about more in the playoffs. Until then, safe betting and peace.